Alright, so I figured now would be a good time of any to do this video. Positive Grid has just released Bias Amp 2. And I figured, you know, we'll do a video on, you know, how to amp match guitar tones from, you know, already recorded records. And we'll try to, you know, demonstrate how I get my guitar tones and how I do my mixes that people like to say that I fake, that sound, you know, extremely close to the record. So we're gonna go slow, step by step, and I'm gonna go through the entire process, and we'll see how this goes. So I'm starting blank slate. First thing I want to do is I want to make a backing track. So I'm going to go to my music library, and we're going to use the Highway to Hell album for this, and we're going to use the track Highway to Hell. Why not? We'll start with this one. We'll do a couple. So what I'm going to do is open this in a program called GoldWave. Now, this magic program is basically the best thing for isolating guitar tones and creating backing tracks. So, for example, let's play a section of the song. Let's start like right there. Alright, so normal track. So we're gonna go to Effect, Stereo Center. Now this is where you can manipulate the entire stereo field. So what we're gonna do is we want to remove the side channels, because we're gonna end up doing our own guitars. So we'll put it, actually we don't want to do that, we don't want to remove them, we want to reduce the sides. So default is set to 50%, or actually, you know what, I actually saved over this preset. So I have it default reduce the sides by 50%, which usually is a good balance of, you know, really keeping the rhythm guitars quiet while keeping the bass and drums with it, and, like, you know, not sounding terrible. So we'll drop this to 25%. So real quiet. So we should see a huge drop in both the sides. Yeah, so this whole thing just got a lot quieter. So let's listen to the same passage. Alright, that actually sounds pretty decent. We're gonna undo it, so it will go back and AB. Okay, so we see that the rhythm guitars are almost completely gone, and we actually also lost a lot of the background vocals. So, we're going to go back to Stereo Center, and I'm going to retry that. We're going to reduce the sides, but this time we're going to keep it at 50, and see if we can keep some of those background vocals in there. Damn it. So you gotta be careful, because if you don't highlight everything, then you're screwed. Alright. Let's do this again. Preset, reduce sides, 50-50, 16, done. So this should keep us a good balance of quiet, making the guitars quiet, but still keeping a little of the background vocals. Alright, and then let's A-B it. Alright, there's no real way that we're going to be able to salvage those background vocals, unfortunately. So, I think we're just going to go back, stereo, center. And I think I'm going to meet it somewhere in the middle. So we had it at 50%. Alright, so if 50% is minus 6 decibels, and 25% is minus 12, we're going to meet it in the middle, and we're just going to do, let's see, that was 1204,602, so we'll just do minus 9.03. We'll do so this should hopefully make it almost inaudible to hear the background rhythm guitars, but I don't want to hear that, you know, pixelated sound that you can hear whenever you make something too quiet. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's listen to the beginning. And then the beginning full. Like, that's so much quieter, it's ridiculous. Alright, so we're gonna file, save this as, let's go to a backing track. Sure, 01 Highway to Hell. Save it as that. Alright, so we're actually gonna do the same thing. We'll do it with Walk All Over You as well. So we'll just do the same exact thing that we just did. Reduce the sides. Minus 9.03. 9.03. Just gonna save that. Save as. All right, cool. So, on to the next step. We need some isolated guitar tracks to match. So, what are the two best tracks that we could use from the Highway to Hell album to get both Angus and Malcolm tone? Well, something important to notice is Angus, like in this album in particular, I noticed his guitar tone likes to shift a little bit. So, for example, we have the intro to Highway to Hell. Compared to Shot Down in Flames, or even Walk All Over You. You know, just they're all a little bit different, which probably, you know, mixing and mastering, you know, they can do that. So they figured out what sounded the best, and that's what they went with. So we're actually going to do a couple different guitar matches to see how well everything goes. But so arguably Highway to Hell, the intro for Angus's tone, and for Malcolm's tone, If You Want Blood. Like, okay, so I did this off screen just to speed things up. So what we have is the right channel for Highway to Hell set to mono, so it's just the right channel, no anything done. I'll bring up the thing in Reaper. I'll demonstrate what I did, but I've already rendered these. So we went to music, AC/DC. Alright, Highway to Hell. I'll just do it with Highway to Hell. Show it as an example. So we have the track in here. We're going to set it to the right channel mono. So, okay, so it's just Angus's track. Get rid of all that, so it's just his isolated guitar, and then we'll just copy and paste it a few times because we need at least 20 seconds, so this is fine. We'll just use these three. And then you'll render that as a WAV file. And so, like I said, I already did that. So we have 20 seconds of Highway to Hell, 20 seconds of Walk All Over You, you can even hear like the little hi-hat from the guitar, god damn it, hear the hi-hat from the drums, because this is just there's no GoldWave or anything, this is just the regular track, just set to mono, and then a slightly edited normal intro from If You Want Blood, just to get rid of the initial drum beats, so that way it's just the isolated guitar track. So that's what we have. We have our three files that we're going to use to match. Now this, inside, we have bias amp 2. Now currently it's set to a JCM 800, just normal thing with, you know, Celestion G12M, greenbacks. Normally in bias amp 1 you had to get it in the ballpark tone with bias using their stuff, and then you would match to a file. But with bias amp 2 you don't even need to do this anymore. So I did this ahead of time thinking I was going to need it, and I totally forgot that I don't even need it anymore. But, you know, for the Highway to Hell album, what we would know is that Angus was using probably either a super lead of some kind or like a JCM master volume 2203, and he was probably using greenback speakers, and we know they were using SM57s and Sennheiser MD421s as the mics. So playing with that and just setting a general rule of thumb, trying to keep everything slightly around, you know, noon. You know, that's basically in the ballpark, but we don't even need to do that anymore because amp match is now ridiculously simple. Now you hit start amp match. It's telling you right now that everything that you've done is basically going to get overwritten. So if you wanted to save anything, then save it. But we don't need to do anything. So we have a solo guitar track. We're going to use that. Now, here's the important part. It tells you to find a file, and it tells you that the supported format is WAV. So at the time of this recording, bias amp 2's initial release, you can only use WAV files. So we're going to go browse for a file, and we're going to do the Highway to Hell intro that we had. It says it'll only analyze the first 20 seconds, and that's fine. And we're going to we'll just hit play real quick. Okay, so that's the file that we had. Now I'm going to hit start capture, and it's going to analyze your audio file. And then you just sit and you wait, and it does its thing. Alright, and so it's done analyzing our file. So now it says make sure your guitar is connected through your interface to your computer. We've got that done. And here's what we got. So you can either honestly, I can't even select any of that. So what you want to do right here, it says amp type. Select the term that best describes the sound of, you know, your amp, or in this case, the audio file we're trying to match. Now, AC/DC, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a crunch. If you're doing stuff like, for example, Donington, and they used Mesa gear, for Angus's tone, honestly, selecting metal, because it really is that high gain and saturated when you listen to it isolated. Malcolm, still crunchy. So all of that stuff. So we're going to hit crunch, and we're going to hit start capture. And then it's going to wait for the input. It says waiting for input signal. So the second I start strumming, it's going to just tell me to keep playing for a certain amount of time. So I'm just going to, you can play whatever you want, but I'm just going to play Highway to Hell, because that's what we recorded and that's what we're trying to match. Okay, so it says instrument captured. Another note, as you saw, there was a thing that said suggested level. Now, usually that's the volume at which they want your guitar signal to be. So if they want your guitar signal to be louder or quieter, that's what they have it set to. For me, I had basically normal like my preamp in my for my audio interface, I have it basically just plugged straight in, normal settings. You know, if you have like the cheap Behringer USB guitar link, just the default levels on that should be fine. My guitar is set to like 7.5 or 8 on the guitar volume, and tone is like at 9. So it really doesn't need much. I always keep my volume around 7 and 8, so that way if I want to do a solo, I can turn it up just a little bit more to get just a bit more saturation out of it. Alright, now what we've been waiting for, we hit amp match. Alright, you can save it wherever you want. I'm just going to save it as in crunch, and I'm going to call this AC/DC Highway to Hell and lead. Save and continue, and now let's see how well it matched. Alright. Now, I'm not sure. As I'm recording this, I'm not sure how I'm going to edit it. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to do some actual recording and place it on top of this, because my recording setup's a little bit weird, but I'm going to turn it up just a little bit so we can get it through the phone speakers or my mic here. Like, that's basically it. The only thing we're missing is a little reverb, which we can turn on right here. Turn it down. Let's do all medium. Let's put it on. Like, damn, that's close. And now if we come in here, we can pan it 96% to the right. I don't know if you can tell by the smile on my face, but goddamn, that sounds basically exactly the same. And there was like, I didn't do anything. Like, it's ridiculous what they've done with this program. Like, I think the ultimate edition, like the most expensive edition of this software that you can buy is like $300, and I would drop $300 on this any day. Like, to be able to just get that tone is amazing. Like, that's so worth it in my opinion. I'm so glad that I did. Okay, cool. So we have this done. Awesome. So I'm just gonna go to another thing now that we got that. Okay, let's go back. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so we're back to normal things. So I'm just gonna swap guitar. Actually, nope. Be smart. So now I'm gonna go to amp match, start a new amp match, have a solo guitar track, and we're gonna select the Walk All Over You. I'll only do the first 20 seconds, double check. Okay, cool. That's what we want. Alright, so now we're gonna match that, see how different the guitar tones are. Because I don't think they're gonna be too different, but I feel like if I used the Highway to Hell match, then it wouldn't quite work with all the other songs. So I feel like I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of matching. Honestly, I might have to do a match for every song if possible to get it actually, you know, perfect. Okay, have the guitar input. It's crunch. Alright, and hit that match. We'll call it AC. DC. Highway to Hell. Lead 2. Alright, and if this works... Okay, let's set this to all medium, bring the level down. Put it over 96%. So it's on the left or on the right, and then like, damn, that's pretty damn close. And you can tell it's definitely a lot dependent on how you strum to get that sound. So like that first chord, you definitely gotta hit you gotta hit the right notes. Because if I just did a full E, you know, it doesn't sound like it. But if you just get it the right. And then we can turn it up, the guitar to 10. So I might even go into the, like, I might even go to this and turn the gain up even more, or turn the master up to get a little more saturation for that solo. That's ridiculous. Alright, that's freaking awesome. So we'll go to another. do a quick guitar change. Pull out the fan favorite Eastwood. Alright. Cool. So now we'll go to amp match, start amp match. We have a solo guitar track. We're gonna browse. Alright, rhythm match. Alright, we're gonna start. Alright, I'm actually gonna tune while I'm doing that. Alright, cool. So, we have it connected. It's a crunch setting, and we're just going to rock it. Okay, and we're gonna hit amp match. We're gonna name this AC/DC. Highway to Hell Rhythm. You turn up the noise gate, and so we should. Okay, that might actually be a little too gainy. But thankfully, when I recorded that, guitar volume was actually almost all the way up. So we're going to actually roll the tone off a little bit. See if we can dial the guitar volume to like 75%. Put it back to like maybe like 80%. Alright, cool. So, now that we're got that done, let's do a quick save. And let's duplicate this track real quick. So now we're gonna rhythm lead, cool. And then we'll set this one to about 96 left, set this one 96 right. And we'll do a little demonstration or a little run through on how we can, or at least how I will do a guitar cover. So we're gonna load a backing track. We'll use Highway to Hell. So we'll go up to the first chorus. Might need to do a little bit of tuning. Or item properties. We'll just pitch adjust 0.1. Alright, change my mind. About -10 from where I'm at. G-string, please. Alright. There we go. Alright, let's do this. Actually, yeah, it's like -20. There we go. One last time. Alright, cool. Now we'll just open up this guitar swap. Alright, bias amp 2. hard to hell lead. Whew, that sounds damn close. Alright. Minus 20. Wrong direction. Like minus 20. Alright, from the beginning. So even then, fucking tuning's still goddamn off. Alright. Drop that down. We'll just trim off everything that I got carried away. It's fine. And trim that as well. Boom. Alright, so we're done recording. Alright. Usually it takes a lot longer to record, you know, you gotta get solos right and all that, but in an effort to not make this video already longer than it already is, because it's gonna be like close to a damn near hour. So we're gonna just quick save. Now I'm gonna click on these tracks and I'm going to render tracks to mono stem tracks, because currently we have the guitars running through bias, right? But I want just a raw guitar track, so we'll throw that down here, and we'll keep these super tiny and out of the way. Alright, so now we're just working with the stems. Alright, screw it. Alright, just gonna keep everything. We'll keep that open. This, I want this to be called Guitar Bus. And we're gonna take these and we're gonna send them into this Guitar Bus. Now, this is where stuff gets usually, or this is where I usually will do all of my editing for my guitars. So the main thing I use, Slate Digital Virtual Mix Rack. We'll just let it do its thing. Now I've already got a preset that I made. I call it Vintage Guitar Minimal, and that looks like a lot of stuff for something minimal, but what we're doing is virtual channel emulation of a Neve 1073, because, you know, that just adds character, as well as this preamp, which same exact thing, as well as this EQ, which is doing basically almost nothing. We're rolling off everything to 50 hertz. So everything 50 hertz and below on the guitars, just, we don't need it. It's just low-end garbage that's gonna just make our mix sound muddy. So we got rid of that. We're doing nothing. At 3.2K, we are doing not even a dB of increase. And high shelf, we're not doing even a dB of increase. And then on this next EQ, same thing. We're doing a roll-off around 50 hertz. And we're actually low-passing up to 13K. So everything above 13K, we're getting rid of it because we don't need it. And then for this, we're running the distressor 4:1 ratio, and we're literally just trying, we're not even trying to compress the guitars really. We just want to try to keep them level. Hence the term leveler. Alright, so what we're actually going to do here is we're going to do an edit. And we're going to drag this back so these are all in time. Oh god. There we go. There we go. Alright, so how do I want to do this? Okay, so let's see, we got that going, so that's not too much, it's just adding some character. In fact, we might even drive this. Alright, so what I did is I engaged the drive and, you know, just cranked it a little bit, get a little saturation going on that. Cool. So, next I want to do is we got to get some reverb going. Now, let's see if I can do, let's see how we can do this. Now we've got reverb going. Let's see if I can. Stereo output. Let's see. That should work. Okay, that didn't work because of how I thought it would. That's fine. Alright, it's because I got this going right here. Alright, so no problem. Usually I just add these to their own things, but I want to do something a little bit different, so we're going to call this lead verb and rhythm verb. And we're going to have this send to lead verb, and we're going to have this one send to rhythm verb. That's fine. Now in lead verb, we're going to have this. And I want to send this somewhat to the left. Now we want a guitar verb. Let's see. Let's find one of my favorites. Where are you at? I feel like you're... There we go. Dreamy dark guitar verb. Nope, I want to change that. I don't like that. Let's find a hall reverb. Let's try large and stage, maybe. And I'm actually just gonna copy and paste because I do want actually a little bit on this side, but we don't want the, we'll have that like set to like 6%. Screw it. So, where are you at? Virtual tape machine. Another thing I like to do is virtual tape machine. Gives the sound a little bit fatter, a little bit warmer. And I experiment either it going into virtual mix rack or mix rack going into the tape machine. It really doesn't matter. It's all personal preference and what you hear and what you think sounds best. So on the master fader, we're gonna do another virtual mix rack. If I can find it. Alright, and so they've got a whole bunch of... The best thing about this is that they have presets that actually work, which I really like. So I usually start with this, you know, see what we need. Do I feel like we need this? Not really, but we'll see. But I like the sound of that. It's adding a little more punch to the low end. So we're going to keep that. Now, usually I'll add another compressor just to help glue things together. There's a whole bunch of different compressors you can use. They just launched a new one, so we're gonna try this out and see how this works. See if we can even use this. This actually might not work the best. Let's see if we can do something. Change my mind. Don't want to use it. Let's see. What do we want to use? Okay, we'll go with the tried and true. We're going to load up the FG Gray. Great compressor, and we're gonna throw on okay. We only want about 3 max decibels of compression. Alright, so as you can see, whenever I get, you know, serious and focused in a mix, I just go dead silent. I get so caught up in doing stuff. So, let's see. We've got 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 dBs of compression, just trying to glue stuff together on this. So actually, you know what? I'm just gonna get rid of it. Let's try a different module here. I kind of like this, and we'll go with full mix glue, because we'll see. Alright, cool. So that worked a lot better. At least to my ears. I like the sound of that a little bit more. Okay, so we have this going. This is basically, let's see, we're not even increasing anything over there. Not even a dB more of 3.2K. Not even a dB at, let's see, what is that, 80 hertz? Nothing there. I turned on a high pass filter at 30, just we don't need that subsonic stuff. You know, we're barely adding anything to the low and high lift, and we're on 2 to 1, just barely getting 2 to 3 dB gain reduction at all. You know, we're just adding a little bit of color with stuff like that, and here we're set to the 1/2 inch 2 track, 456, 30 IPS. We could even do FG9 if we wanted to. It's whatever sounds good. And this is, you know, simulating printing to tape. And then last but not least, we put it through a limiter. We don't want this for compressing. We just have a pretty much a standard go-to for settings. It's about here, and alright, cool. And you know, with YouTube compresses basically everything, and it'll turn down your video if, you know, the mix is too loud. So everything doesn't have to be blistering loud. So I try to keep my songs in between -14 and -12 dB. Even though that honestly might even be too loud, who knows. But you want something comfortable that's not too loud that you're blowing out stuff. So that way, even, you know, when someone cranks it, you don't want your entire song to just sound nasty. You want it to sound good when it's loud. So keeping stuff lower gives you plenty of room to turn it up loud if you really want to blast it. And so that's good. And that's, you know, for something simple like a guitar cover like this is about basically as much work on it as I'll do. You know, sometimes you get projects that have a lot more parts. So for example, like my Donington covers, collaborations, they'll have the entire drum and bass parts, and then that's just like 20 more tracks that you got to deal with, and then you got to work on adjusting volumes and, you know, making tiny tweaks so that way everything just sits together as a whole. And as you probably saw like earlier in the video, like at one point I honestly just stopped talking and was focusing, and I was only doing 2 guitars and a backing track. Just imagine how much more you gotta focus and think about stuff when there's like 20 tracks. And you know, that's just one of the things about audio engineering and just mixing and stuff, and I really enjoy that aspect of it all. And so it's something that's important to know and important to practice that some people might overlook. But, you know, it's something that it's probably like the thing that I end up focusing on the most, other than the playing itself. So I think we're pretty much good to call this done. I think I'm going to render this, and we'll just call this tone test, wave, set it to stereo, and render. Alright, so we did see, thanks to our limiting software, we're not going to peak at all. It looks healthy, nice and loud, but not too loud. Cool. Alright, we'll close that. Double check. Give this a listen to. Cool. Now, if I was actually, you know, going to like do a cover of this and I was actually planning on releasing this, I would probably take at least another hour just mixing that. Like, I would be checking that on my pair of studio monitor headphones, and I would probably try to play this in like a car stereo and everything just to make sure everything sat right, just because I'm that just like OCD about stuff, and you know, I want it to sound perfect. But for this video, and to keep it, like I said, from going into like crazy long hours and hours of video, I think that basically covers everything from start to finish. Like, we went from nothing to basically a completed song cover. And you know, it's really ridiculous how close you can get to the actual album with literally nothing more than an isolated guitar file. Like, it's not even, that's literally, we used the main song files. Like, we didn't remove sides, we didn't like isolate anything, we just took either the right or the left channel from the actual album itself and was able to make a pretty damn close match. And then, you know, just little, very, very slight, small tweaks to EQ, adding a little bit of compression and some console emulation and some tape emulation, just to give things, you know, a slightly less digital, you know, feel and sound print. You know, try to make it sound analog, because that's all those good records were analog, so we want to try to replicate that as much as we can. And so, you know, doing a little bit of that, and a little attention to detail, you know, getting guitar levels right, you know, we can make it sound like we're actually playing on the album. You know, rather than just like, oh, I have the album and, you know, I made my guitar part and I'm playing my guitar part over, you know, the album, or I removed, you know, the entire right side of the song, so you're just hearing drums on the left and the center, and having a guitar tone that sounds nothing, you know, close, but, you know, nothing like the actual album. You know, it's like you're playing with it, when, you know, we've come to the point where now it can seem like we're actually playing on the album. And, you know, and that's what I go for. And sometimes I guess I get too close, because then we get some people that think, hey, that's fake, you're not actually playing that. But I see it as a compliment. It just shows that I'm doing something right. And if I can honestly fool some people into thinking that I'm not playing, then mission accomplished. Like, that's the goal. The goal now is to try to trick as many people as possible, because that just proves, you know, that I've got something special. Alright, well, if you stuck through the entire hour-long session that this video is, I hope that you can use this to your advantage, so that way you can start making some guitar covers yourself. You know, throw some discussion in the comment section. You know, let's talk about stuff. If you have questions, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. And yeah, other than that, I think that covers it. So have fun making guitar covers, and share this with your friends if you want them to see, or if you see anybody, you know, saying that one of us is faking it, look them over this video and they can sit through. Maybe I'll make a short version, but we'll see. Take care.